Hello friends, it's Jackie Ballhays from Clump and Stampers. Today we're going to do a fun 6x6 one sheet wonder to make 4 quick and easy cards. Now if you don't have a 6x6 piece you like, take a 12x12 piece and cut it down and use just a 6x6, because out of that one 6x6 piece you'll be able to make these 4 fun cards. Now this is a great way to use up some of that designer series paper that you have sitting around, or you just want to make kind of a stack of cards quickly and easily. So let's flip the camera down and let's get to work. So I have a 6x6 piece from the Floral Charm designer series paper that recently came out. Now this was a 12x12, it comes in that. So I just cut it down to 6x6 because that's all we need to use. Now if you want to make a big stack of cards, just cut it down to 6x6 and then follow the cutting diagrams to make, what would you get? 4 times 4. What is that, 16? Gosh, can't math today. Cards out of that one 12x12. We also have 2 sheets of cardstock. Those are going to be our 4 card bases. We got soft seafoam, and then we're going to use Mossy Meadow as layering pieces with our designer series paper. Now before I cut, I want to show you, because I'm often asked, like, how do you figure stuff out like this? Well, I take a piece of just computer paper and I'll cut it 6x6, and then I start cutting with my trimmer. And as I'm cutting, I kind of have a vision what I want to do, and I use the grid paper to just, in a Sharpie marker, to just kind of draw it out. This wasn't the original. The original one, I could hardly read it, so I just copied it then onto a 6x6 like that. Now, with this one, I am going to draw this up into a nice diagram that everybody can understand, and I will have it available for you over on my website. I'll have pictures of the cards as well as the diagram that you can download and all the measurements for all 4 cards. So make sure you follow the link in the video description to get over there, and you'll be able to grab this free tutorial from my tutorial store. It'll be better than this, I promise. Okay, so I'm going to just set that right here so I can kind of follow it as I cut. Now, this paper is directional, so you have to be a little bit mindful of that. And then I kind of found that with this, as long as my direction's up and down as I'm, laying it on this way, I'm pretty good with that. And really, if it goes different directions, you may just have to change the orientation of the card as you're putting them together. So we're going to start by cutting off 1 3/4 off the top here. Okay, so there's 1 3/4, and then we're going to trim it down to 5 1/2. Now I'm going to cut this side off. I kind of looked at it and I'm like, I'm taking that 1/2 inch off. I thought, didn't want to cut into that flower, so I cut that side. So that piece, if you look, and this is why I like the grid paper too, I can kind of lay it on there as I go to make sure I'm cutting things right. So now with this piece, we're going to off the side cut a 1/2 piece and a 1 1/2 inch piece. So I like to flip it this way and cut off my right side. So there is my 1/2 inch strip. And then after that, we need a 1 1/2. Okay, so again, I can bring in my diagram, and I know those pieces are going to go on there just like that. Now, with this one, you have to be a little bit careful because this ends up being, what, 4 by 4 1/4. So I want to make sure I keep it with that 4 across the top, and we're going to cut off 3 pieces that are a 1/2 inch. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so there's my 3 little 1/2 inch pieces. Let's see, we're just going to set everything over here. And I'm going to keep these, well, oops, did I mess them up? I want to try to keep these in order. Let's see, how'd that one go? I messed them up, didn't I? It's got to go this way. No, it's got to go that way. In case I want to make my design stay continuous. So we'll keep that like so. And now my final piece is I want to cut a 1 inch off that side and a 1 inch off that side, which will leave me 2 inches in the middle. And again, I mean, you could cut it 1, 1, and 2, but this way, if I want to leave that pattern intact, I'll be able to, because now we've got that going. Okay, there's all my cut pieces. So we are ready to start creating our cards. Now we're going to start, and I don't always cut card bases on video, but I'm going to do that just so you can kind of see the whole process here. Now, when I cut card bases, I like to score once and then cut. So we're going to score it at 4 1/4. and then we can flip it around and cut it at 5.5. And there's 2 card bases all scored and ready to use. We'll do the same thing. We're gonna score, and then we're gonna turn it, and we will cut at 5.5. Oh, okay, there's those pieces. Now, all of our little pieces here need to have a layer behind them. And so I kind of did the math earlier, and I figured out here, let's see, we're gonna cut this at 5.5 and see if we can get it all out of just one piece. So I need a 5.5 by 2. Okay, that's going to be for card 1. Let's see, let's just match up our pieces as we cut. So there's that one. For card 2, I need 1 3/4 by 4 1/4. So that's card 2. That's going to be these pieces, and you'll see what we do with that here in a second. And then 3 is going to be 4 1/4 by 2. Oh, I think we can get it out of this. So 4 1/4 by 2 is for card number 3, which are these pieces. And then 4 is going to be, look at that, 4.5 by 3 is going to be for card number 4. Perfect. Got all of those out of just half sheet. So this is, I could use that for a card base for something else. So let's go ahead and just move this stuff out of the way, and then we'll start putting our cards together. Okay. First thing we're going to do is just glue these pieces together. Okay, then we won't mix them up and wonder what goes where. So we'll stick that one on there. That's our card number 1. This one is card number 4. Now, depending on your paper, you might want to like flip some of the pieces, but I'm going to keep them all the same. The back of this one kind of matches our cardstock, so it doesn't give much contrast. Plus, I really like this floral design, and I like when you take a piece and kind of cut it, split it up, but then keep the pieces in order so you have that pattern going through it. And it just kind of gives you a little bit more dimension and interest to your card than just a straight piece. Whoops, that slid, didn't it? Okay, so this is the piece for, that sounded very good. There you go. That's actually card 4. And then this one is going to go on here. On our diagram, this was card number 2. And, when I picked the background color, I didn't realize how close it was to this one. So I'm going to go ahead, just because this is how the pattern's intended, but you'll see another sample I have where there's more contrast, and I kind of actually liked it a little bit better. So I'm going to move it over a little bit instead of putting it right on the edge, so we've got some interest going there. Okay, and then with this piece, again, let's keep our pattern intact. You could flip one of these, so you could show both sides of your designer series paper, which, in a lot of cases, that would be a fun way to do this pattern. This one's got kind of a boring background. So let's go ahead. Now, when you're putting 3 pieces on, I always put like the top, the bottom, or the left and the right, and then do the middle last, because then you can, let's, that way, there we go. Then you can just center it in between the 2. Okay, so there's the layers for our 4 cards. Now we can bring in our card bases. We're going to go ahead and fold them all in half. Use our bone folder. Remember, the bumpy side goes to the inside. Okay, so feel how it's scored. There's the bumpy to the inside. Now, with all of these cards, you could take this idea and this pattern and definitely step it up. You could put another layer on here. You could emboss on here. Whatever you want to do, you could easily do to step them up. But we're going to keep our cards simple. So let's see, we're going to go with card 1. So let's go ahead and we'll stick these on here. And then once we have all these on here, all we need to do yet is add a sentiment. Okay, so there's card 1, and then card 2 is this piece. You know what? Our directional pattern worked out just fine for this. So we can do that, you know, and depending on that directional pattern, remember you could always, I'm going to have all my cards going this way, but they could all go either direction. So what really ends up working the best for the paper that you have, okay? Once you've cut it, you'll be able to tell, does this look better, portrait or landscape? So we'll put that one right there. And then this one we're going to put over. A lot of times when I have smaller layers on a card front, I like to offset them. So I wouldn't put this in the center. You know, I kind of pushed it over to the left, you know, kind of what I did here, over to the left or over towards the top. Okay, so there's our 4 cards. So now let's get ready to do our sentiment. So for the sentiments, we're using more messages. You guys have seen me use this quite a few times. It is my go-to greeting, especially when I just want to pair it with designer series paper or a simple image. Now, I think I've done this on video, but I thought I would do it again. I like to use my MISTI. Some of you may have the Stamparatus that Stampin' Up! Used to sell, or any type of stamp positioner. Now, since this stamp is the red rubber, I take the foam pad out. Okay, the foam pad is for in here if you have the photopolymer stamps because they're thinner. And then we're gonna just take a piece of cardstock, and then I'm going to use a magnet to hold it in place. And I've already lined this up where I want it. And we are going to stamp using our mossy meadow. Now you could use a wood block, or wood block, goodness, boy, that dated me, a clear block. But I like with big stamps using the positioner because I ink it up and then we're going to flip this close, and then I found this other tool that I've recently gotten, and I'll link to this. It's actually in my favorite things on my website, but it helps you put even pressure, and look, it just rubs across this so nice. You know, otherwise I was trying to always do this, but now I can just rub on there. And doesn't this look like, what's that one game? Oh crud, I can't think. We used to play with the kids all the time. And then we pick it up. Now, this is why I like these, because you'll notice it didn't stamp real good. I also know this mossy meadow pad of mine really needs to be re-inked. But the beauty of using a positioner, I can ink it up again and close it, and we'll rub on here again. And because I want these greetings nice and crisp. You know what? We're going to even do it one more time. I'm going to work a little bit harder over here to ink this up good. I like my words super crisp and clear and dark. So let's, look at that. Look how much better that looks. Okay, so here are our sentiments. So let's set this aside. And then we can bring in our die. I love this. It just makes me giddy when I do this. And look how it fits perfectly on those. I can run it through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and it's going to cut out all those sentiments at one time. Now, I have a whole box full, so I'm not going to cut those out. What I did is I just took a stamp case. Do you know you can buy these stamp cases? I use them all the time to keep my ephemera in and just different parts and pieces. But I do have in here some that I stamped in Mossy Meadow, some that I embossed on Secret Sea, stamped in Secret Sea. But I just have this, so whenever I need a quick and easy card, I can just grab my sentiments and I'm ready. So let's bring our cards back in here, grab our dimensionals, and let's put some sentiments on here. Now, these sentiments, you could combine them. You could put a couple on a card. You could put one on the inside. Let's see. We'll stick with these Mossy Meadow ones. So now, again, you could put embellishments on here. You know what? I wonder, time to celebrate. You know what? We could do, you know, this is where I overthink and I sit here and I could just go on and on and on. You know, we're going to stop right there because I was looking for one, but I can't find it real easily. So time to celebrate. I was going to try to double them up because you can, a lot of them will work together. Like you put 2 different ones on here. So let's do, you are simply incredible. We'll stick that one right there. And then you're absolutely the best. And we'll stick that one on our 4th card. Like I said, you could put embellishments on here, ribbon on here, linen thread on here, but we're going to keep it simple for the video, and that will let your imagination step these cards up however you want. So there, oh, you know what? I was going to do that way. But it's going that way. It works, right? All of these, you could put them either direction. So there you go. 4 cards, quick and easy from a 6x6 piece of designer series paper. Now, I have 4 other ones that I want to share with you that I made previously. This is out of another piece from that same paper pack. And I use the same greetings. And see here, you can see I went that way. And with these, I did add just some linen thread on them around each layer before I adhered it down to the card base. So there you go. Any paper is going to work. Just pick 2 coordinating colors of cardstock to go with it, and you're off and running to make 4 quick and easy cards. So make sure to check out the link that's down in the video description to go over to my website, and over there we'll have a free download in my tutorial store that will have the diagram for cutting these. I'll give you all the measurements for those extra pieces and all the supplies I use to make both sets of them. So thanks for watching. I hope you like this idea, but more important, I hope you play with it and you make some of these yourself. Thanks for watching, my friends. We'll be stamping again real soon. Have a stamp happy day.